Cape Town artists are picketing outside the Artscape Theatre today. This comes weeks after a group of artists staged a sit-in at the National Arts Council in Johannesburg, vowing not to budge until they got answers regarding their industry's COVID-19 relief fund. 300 million rand was allocated last year as a lifeline for artists and creatives during the pandemic. For more on this story, let's cross over to our reporter Nasipi Sami. A very good afternoon to you, Nasipi. Now, just tell us how the protest has been going since this morning, I believe was when it started. And also, I believe that the artists also were giving performances just in front of the Artscape Theatre.
Well, yeah, that is indeed true. We are seeing a different kind of protest action here in Cape Town by various artists. As you can hear behind me, there is a group currently at the stage, or rather at the stairs of Artscape, basically standing in solidarity with the artists regarding the stimulus package that you touched on, which is about 300 million rand. And today marks about 25 days since that group of artists in Johannesburg occupied the building of the National Arts, rather the NAC. And this comes after the artists are saying that they have not received that stimulus package and demand answers and transparency from government and the council itself as to what exactly happened to that money. But I am joined now by Nkosinathi, who's one of the artists here, who's going to talk to us about what is at the core of this protest action. We saw it playing out in Johannesburg about 25 days ago. Today we're seeing Cape Town artists standing with various artists.
I think it's accountability. I think the one thing that we're asking for is people need to be held accountable for what they did, because artists had to wait a whole year and people have not eaten, people have been hungry and people have not been able to work. So now all we're saying is, can people be held accountable? Yes, apparently the money is still around, and yes, apparently the monies will be paid to people. And I say apparently deliberately, and it's not by mistake, that the money will be paid out to people. And if that money is paid out and when that money is paid out, can still people be held accountable? Because in the sector, so much has been taken away from us, and now everybody's saying, no, we can't anymore. You know what I mean? And we thank the likes of Mambongile and the guys in Joburg who reminded us and said, guys, we can't just sit back and allow this sort of thing to happen. And the people in Cape Town, we came together with all the other guys who are helping to organize this whole protest to say that we see you, Mambongile, we see the guys in Joburg, and we're saying to the government, we see you for what you're doing as well, and people need to be held accountable.
What would you like the minister to do in regards to this? You touched on the fact that transparency and accountability, but I mean, it's 300 million rand that has not been distributed to the people that actually need it, and those are artists.
I think a clearer understanding of what are we going to do now going forward, because we just want people to be transparent and clear and tell us exactly what is going to happen going forward, and the minister needs to be harsh on those people. And unfortunately, with all due respect, the minister needs to be harsh on himself as well, you know what I mean, for being in the position that he's in, because we've been hungry. We are a sector that is often overlooked. We're a sector that nobody often pays attention to. But now we're saying, no, we can't anymore. You know what I mean? We were promised money a year ago, a whole year ago, and that money has not come to those people. You know what I mean? To the people that need it. So I think heads need to roll, as they say, and people need to be held accountable, including the minister himself. I'm sorry, but including the minister himself, yes.
How have artists been surviving? You touch on the fact that it's been a year, and a year later we're talking about the stimulus package that has obviously not reached its final destination. But how have artists been surviving throughout the 365 days?
People have been hungry, hey? We've had to rally together, we've had to come together and say to people, hey, I've got this, I've got that, do you need this, can I give you that? And people have had to have food parcels, you know what I mean? There are certain government departments that have come forward and said there are food parcels, especially in Cape Town, to say here are food parcels for people to survive. But rent has not been paid for a full year for a lot of artists, and people have not been able to, never mind the fact, do what they're passionate about, but put food on the table for their families, you know, because as black kids and as artists, we support our families, we support the people that are back home with this craft that we do. So people have been hungry, that's all I can say. Yeah.
What's going to happen to the young children that we saw here today, some of them passionately performing and singing? Should government not attend to this specific matter of 300 million rand and not attending to artists' needs?
These kids won't get the opportunity that I got to perform on stages, to have a career in this industry, if the government does not step up and say that these kids need a future, these kids need equal opportunities. The arts needs equal opportunities as any other sector. And I think my worry is the youth. My worry are all the kids who will not have what I got. What we're saying now, and I think what I'm fighting for personally, is to say, give the youth an opportunity that we got. Give them what is due to them so that they can share it with the world. We're an African nation, and art is who we are. It's at the cornerstone of what exists in all of us. So taking it away from these young people is literally taking food away from them, which already they have, by not giving them the money that they need.
And then just lastly, quickly, Nkosinathi, it's been 25 days since the occupation at the NAC. And the minister had a press briefing a couple of days ago. Are you satisfied with the response and also the time it took for the minister to respond?
Honestly, I watched over again. I didn't understand a lot of the things that were said, and maybe it's my not understanding of the English language and not understanding what the minister was articulating. But all I want is the minister to keep it simple and tell us exactly what is going to happen. You know, because I find that sometimes in these kind of conferences, people beat around the bush and use words that confuse people, and people end up not understanding exactly what you're saying, where people are not committing. And we need commitment. We need the minister to commit to something and say, this is what's going to happen. Then we can say, okay, cool, we understand that you've committed to this, and we can hold you accountable for it. But I felt that in that press briefing, there wasn't really a lot of commitment from the minister. There wasn't a lot of clear accountability from the minister, being said that these are the people, then this is what's going to happen. Yes, apparently there are people that have been let go from the NAC council, but still, I mean, there are a lot of people where the money has disappeared to. So, yeah.
Do you think that it had to take these group of artists to occupy the NAC to raise the awareness of this 300 million rand that has gone missing?
I thank those artists. I thank their guts. I thank their willingness. I thank their commitment. I thank their admiration, and I admire them for stepping up to say that we see what is happening, and this is what is happening, and we need to step up and alert us, the people who may not know what is happening. So it's sad that it had to get to this point. You know what I mean? So much has always been taken away from the arts. We're the one sector where, if anything happens, cut from the arts. Do you know what I mean? And we've been fine. We've managed to move around. But at this point in time, when we've been promised 300 odd millions, give us what you promised us. Do you know what I mean? Give us what you said we wanted. And we're the kind of sector that will make that kind of money work. It's not enough. It's never enough. But it's that money, we will make it work. And we will reach the people that we need to reach. We'll account for that. But you can't then promise us something and then take it away from us. You know what I mean?
That is Nkosinathi just talking to us about the protest action that we are seeing here in Cape Town. And in his words, they want to see his role following the 300 million rand that was meant for artists that has ultimately, a year later, has not reached them. He talks about the impact that COVID-19 has had on the arts and culture industry, as many other industries where they had to close their doors due to the restrictions that the country has been under. And now all they're asking for as artists is for transparency, accountability, and harsher action to be taken against those responsible and those that were in charge of the 300 odd million rand, including the minister himself, to take harsher action against himself regarding the 300 million rand that is currently at the center of discussion, where artists are saying that they are not able to put bread on the table due to the fact that their industry has been closed for a year.
Well, let's leave it there. Thank you for that update. Our reporter Nasipi Same coming to us live from just in front of the Artscape Theatre in Cape Town.